Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the series of the video lessons for the subject of business organization for the BCom first semester. We are in the unit 3, that is organization. We have well covered the fundamental and key concepts as far as the introduction of the organization is concerned. Today we will go for learning of the major forms of the organizational structures as far as the authority and responsibility and accountability is concerned. We can divide these two organizational structures in the form of two categories: formal organization and informal organization. So what is this formal? The name itself is formal, means official, whereas informal means unofficial. So what is a formal organization? A formal organization is a system of consciously coordinated activities or forces of two or more persons. It refers to the structure of well-defined jobs, each bearing a definite measure of authority, responsibility and accountability. The main or the chief essence of the formal organization is conscious, common purpose, and comes into being when the persons are able to communicate with each other, are willing to act, are willing to share a purpose. If you observe this definition, it is mostly having no personal affiliation or affinity. It is purely from the subordination of the individual interest to the organizational interest, which is already we discussed under the Henry Fayol 14 principles. Whatever the authority and responsibility is given and the accountability is fixed by the organizational management, particularly the top level management, regarding the getting things done through the others with reference to the organizational goal achievements is concerned, that is visible through the formal organization structure. The formal organization structure is built upon the foundation which have 4 pillars. The 4 pillars are division of labor, scalar chain and functional processes, structure and the span of control. These are the 4 key elements, what we can denote as the 4 pillars of the foundation on which the formal organizational structure is erected. So let us go one by one. Division of labor. So the total actions and activities or the functions of the organization have been amicably divided and subdivided such that there will be either more burden or lesser burden or no burden. It is properly and judiciously divided among all the functionary areas and all the people associated with each and every functionary area of the organization. So when once the total work is divided into parts and subparts, automatically that has been made based upon the specialization and the emphasis laid down regarding the fulfillment of the targets fixed for each and every arena of the organizational action and activity purpose. That is what we come under the division of labor. The second one is the scalar chain and functional processes. Here the scalar chain functions state that how the persons are being related to each other, either vertically or horizontally, and who is going to relate with whom, and what is the continuity of the organization's actions and activities are concerned. And the next one is the processes, functional processes. we have different functionary areas, and under each functionary area of any organization, there are certain processes and sub-processes and sub-processes are involved, such that the overall function is possibly being executed in a amicable manner. Henceforth, it is related to the continuity in the name of the scalar chain as well as the functional processes are concerned. So these two are the factors as a blended one became the pillar of the formal organization. The third pillar of the organizational function structure is the structure of the organization. As in the earlier class, I told you that organization is a blend of three elements: people, structure and technology. The structure is going to define you in the way how it is going to be executable and executed. If we know that in the case of the managerial levels, we have three categories of managerial levels: top level management, middle level management and the bottom level management. And each level of the management has been further structurized and restructurized in order to derive the organizational goals and objectives from time to time. Henceforth, the structure in which the composition is being placed towards the organizational goal achievement is also one of the basic pillars of the organizational structure. And the last pillar of the organizational structure is the span of control. How many people are being controlled by a particular given position? For example, under a manager, how many people are there as subordinates? Under a supervisor, how many workers are there to get supervision? So that the span, the scope of coverage of that particular supervision or manager functionality is coming under the span of control, right? With this, we will enter into the other form of the structure of organizational functioning, that is informal organization. In the case of the informal organization, there is no formal relationship, there is no formal communication, there is no formal declaration of authority, responsibility and accountability, and there is more concern for personal as well as individual derivations or expectations rather than the organizational expectation. If you observe, in the case of the formal organization, subordination of individual interest to the organizational interest. But whereas in the case of informal organization, here there is no subordination. Individual interests are more prominent than the organizational interest. That's why it is denoted as informal organization. The works are being carried out on the informal communication lines, informal relationships and informal decisions, informal things. This is a very challenging task on the part of every manager, where the informal organizational structure is in functioning and informal processes are in functioning. It is a very challenging task and sometimes it is more riskier also. Henceforth, this is what we call it as informal organization. Now let us go for the brief description of the feature or the characteristics of the formal organization as well as the informal organization. In the case of the formal organization, the first and foremost feature what we can observe here is it is laid down by the top level management. As I said earlier also, the top level management is a strategic area of functionality. They are having decision making. They are all concerned with the overall image of the organization, overall success of the organization, overall functioning of the organization, right? So the strategic planning, the strategic decision making, the designing of strategies, all are associated with top level management. So taking into the context of the vision for which the organization is having, the mission which is the basic purpose of the organization, and the objectives for which the organization is supposed to strive hard to achieve them, and keeping in all those things into consideration, the top level management will lay down this organizational structure. That's why it is a formal organizational structure. from top to bottom, the organizational structure is being built up as per the design associated with the top level management ideology and requirements. The next point here is under the formal organization, relationships are well established. Here, one-to-one relationship between and among the individuals of different levels of the management and within the levels of the management also being designed, being defined and being established. How to function, how to communicate, how to share, all these things are being well designed in a formal manner. Here the relationships are formal relations. Here the relationships are official relationships. No more personal relationships. No more informal relationships. That's why the relationships are well established. There is no question of any ambiguity or a dilemma to have how to relate with each other within the organization while functioning during the course of the organizational functioning activity. The next one is, it is for working together to achieve the goals. The only binding thing on the part of every employee is to focus their actions and activities towards the organizational goal achievement with a proper connectivity and coordination. And the working together, it is also called as working together. Working together in the sense, one has to compulsorily coordinate with each other while functioning in the organization. The next one is, it is bound by rules, regulations and procedures. When once everything is defined, it is required that all the people may not be equally the same. Henceforth, there is a need of a common rule, common norms, common regulations and common procedures. And once the common rules are there, common regulations are there, procedures are there, everybody is being treated in a common manner, in a standard manner, in an official manner. Henceforth, the rules, the regulations, the procedures are supposed to be laid down during the course of the structuring of the formal organization. The next one is, authority, responsibility and accountability is fixed for each person at each level. It is well defined authority, well written responsibility or well fixed responsibility, and the exact way of specifying the accountability, to what extent a person is accountable to the particular situation. If it is not there, automatically the person will move in a freedom as per their own whims and fancies. That is being eradicated while designing the formal organization. The next one is the division of labor and specialization. As I said, formal organization is going to provide you what to do, when to do, how much to do it, where to do it, with what coordination to do, with what planning to be done, all these things. Henceforth, every person is clearly given what is the action to be proceeded with and what are the things to be done, with what skill sets and efficiency levels are required to conduct that particular action or activity or the job which is allocated. Henceforth, the total work is being divided into parts and subparts, and that is comes under the division of labor with the ample specialization required for performing the job or the action or the activity. It is deliberately impersonal. That is another feature of the formal organization. Deliberately impersonal. Deliberately, the word itself is very much clearly making ourselves to understand. Deliberated means already predefined, well defined, well established, well concisely or precisely being told prior to that. And suppose that comes under deliberately, wantedly, it is fixed. There is no question of any personal feeling, any personal relationship, any personal communication, and it is highly impersonal. Next one is, it is honored and followed by everyone. It is stated that rule is rule, rule for all. And when once the rules are described, the regulations are being prescribed, norms are being stated, and accountability is fixed, automatically it should be honored and it should be followed by each and every human being who are being structured in the particular organizational structure in a formal manner. Henceforth, the question of not following does not arise. Otherwise, the code of conduct will come into the context. Henceforth, in order to maintain the unification of actions and activities, in order to maintain the discipline to be established in the organization, if you observe, discipline is also one of the 14 principles prescribed by Henry Fayol, the 14 principles of management, who is denoted as the father of modern management. That's why, in order to establish the discipline, in order to promulgate the code of conduct, in order to make the people unifiedly direct their all energies towards the organizational goal achievement, this should be the organizational structure in formal nature is supposed to be honored and followed by everyone. And the last feature, what we can come to here under the formal organization is the coordinated structure. See, when once everything is there, but if there is lack of coordination, automatically all the actions and activities are gone in vain. There is mere utilization, wastage of time and resources. Henceforth, the structure always aims towards provision of high level coordination, proper coordination, very well much knitted coordination that is essential to be there on the part of the formal organizational structure. Now let us go for the observation of some of the features of the informal organization. The first feature what we can say it is no formal authority is fixed. No formal communication is being fixed. Everything is personal. Everything is purely individual. And here, when there is no authority fixed for each and every stage of the organizational structure, automatically the person who is supposed to get the things done through others may be a big question mark, may be a risky, or may be a nightmare at some of the times. Henceforth, in the case of the informal structure, the no formal authority is being fixed. Next one is there is human and personal relationships attached. The question of subordination of individual goals which are to the organizational goals does not exist here. Henceforth, when there are personal relationships, human relationships and individual relationships are taking place here instead of the formal relationships and formal communication, automatically there is a possibility of more conflicts, more disputes and more stagnation of the organizational actions and activities. The next one is it is not bound by rules, procedures and norms. Here individual welfare, personal ideologies, personal beliefs, personal whims and fancies do have their own implication during the course of the informal organization. Henceforth, informal organization do not have any rules, any procedures or any norms. Whatever an individual or an employee thinks in will be conducted. Here the question of not following the others may arise. That is also one of the key features of the informal organization. Informal communication. Most of the communication within the organization is informal. The grapevine communication, purely personal communication. And what are the perceptions, what are the attitudes, they are being replicated through the communication being followed through the informal organizational structure. As far as the formal organization is concerned, it is formal communication. Even though it is stated that every organization, even though it is formal, which will have formal communication along with the sides, there is also the flow of informal communication. But in the case of the informal organization, there is no formal communication, purely informal communication. That may create some, communication barriers also, and that may go for a disaster situation in the case of functioning of the organization. And the last feature, what we can consider under the informal organization is voluntary basis of people function their roles. It is voluntary. There is no question of giving an order. There is no question of putting pressure. There is no question of arguing. And whatever the manager says may be followed, may not be followed. Whatever the supervisor says may be followed or may not be followed. Here the people has to go on their voluntary basis, individual basis, on their personal basis. Henceforth, this is the biggest question, to what extent the personal whims and fancies or the individual whims and fancies maybe towards the goal, organizational goal achievement or not, that is a big question mark, that is a big million-dollar question. Henceforth, the voluntary basis is given. As far as the demerits of the formal organizational structure is concerned, here there is no personal thinking, here there is no personal attachment, here there is no respect towards the personal sentiments. Sometimes that may create some disturbance among the employees, that may lead to low morality, high absenteeism, and sometimes high indiscipline in the future course of time. So that is also one demerit of here. The second demerit of here, more the formality and more the pressure, and that may create more indiscipline in the future course of time, because there is no personal touch. As human beings, we are dealing with human beings, there is a need of personal touch also along with formal rules and regulations. In the case of the informal organization, the basic what is that? The merits are very few here, as well as the demerits are very high, or disadvantages are very high. Here there is no rule, there is no regulation, there is no proper communication, there is no proper authority and responsibility, and there is no accountability at all. Henceforth, this is a very drastic situation in where the formal informal organization is in process. For today, we will come to a conclusion. If you have any doubts, you go for clarification in the assignment form. Thank you very much.